Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench. And today, as promised, I'm going to do a demo actually using the Swallowtail SD from Gaahleri. And this is the latest in their range, and it's apparently a very, very nice airbrush. I've used the ordinary Swallowtail, gravity fed. I've used it for a couple of little jobs, but I love the trigger action and everything of it. So today what I'm going to do in this video is show you how I get on with it. I haven't used it yet. As you can see, it is absolutely spotlessly clean. It has never had any paint put through it. All I have done is actually put some pre-mixed Mr. Colour, Mr. Surfacer. I couldn't think. I cannot believe I forgot the name Mr. Surfacer. Mr. Surfacer 1200 thinned with Mr. Colour leveling thinners, and we're going to use the Siphon feed today. Somebody did ask the question: could you store the paint in these jars? If you say like if you've got one of these and you just keep primer in it, you have an air vent here. You can see there's an air hole there, just in front of my finger. You would have to plug that, say plug it with a cocktail stick or something. Maybe if I've got a cocktail stick here handy, we can see if that works. You can plug it with a cocktail stick, probably. So you'd plug that one with a cocktail stick and that would probably be good enough. And then you could probably actually use a cocktail stick to plug that one as well. No, you need something bigger. As you can see, I haven't put any paint through this. It's totally clean. I should have put some thinners through it first, but I haven't. We've got a stick there. So there we go. You could plug it with a wooden stick. And then you probably could store paint, and not inevitably, but you could sort of, if you're going through priming a load of parts or something, you could store it for a couple of days like that, certainly. So there we are. So that's that question answered. So the plan is today in this video, what I'm going to do is show you how I got on with it. I've got the 0.5 nozzle and needle fitted, and the nozzle cap. Okay, you can tell the 0.5, it's got a groove on it. If you've got the ordinary Swallowtail, you get the 0.28, the 0.5 and the 0.7, and the 0.7 has two grooves, so you can easily identify which is the correct one. And as I told you before, when it comes to identifying the needles, sometimes they have a groove on the end, but invariably they don't. The best way to tell is if this is your needle, it's got a very, very sharp angle on it, then that is the smaller size, and then as they get bigger, they get more and more obtuse. So there you go. So the 0.7 will be more like this, the 0.5 will be like that, and the 0.28 will be like that. Okay, that's not exactly right, but I think you understand what I mean. I hope you do anyway. So what we're going to do in this video is show you how to go on with it. I'm going to show you the difference between using the ordinary 0.5 nozzle, and also we're going to fit the fan cap, and we'll see how we get on with that as well. So I can show you the difference in using this and using that. I've got my Poker Porsche here to do. I've got some. I need to get some primer on it, so we're going to use it for that. So I can show you that, and we'll see how we get on. So without further ado, I think what we should do is get this nice pretty box out of the way so we don't get any paint on it. I'm going to get my air hose connected. The other thing I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to give you an update on where I am with the Gaahleri water curtain spray booth, and show you a couple of little mods I've done, or one little mod I've done, and tell you what else I've done to try and improve the how it works. So, piece of scrap paper here. I've got the compressor set on roughly 15 psi. I always say roughly. People like to think, I need to thin my paint 47.9% thinners and add 1.8% retarder and have it the temperature needs to be 21.7 degrees and I need 15.6 psi. It is not that. It's an artist's tool, okay? You mix the paint until it looks right. You spray it. If it's a bit thick, you thin it a bit. If you want to get the paint flowing a bit faster, up the air pressure a bit. If you've got loads of overspray going everywhere, drop your air pressure a bit. It is not a science, it is an art, okay? It's just however you feel, okay? I saw a video the other day, someone was talking about LP paints, and they spray them direct out of the bottle. They don't thin them, all right? Now, you can do that, but you usually find it quite hard to get a nice finish unless you lay it down quite heavily and it levels out. But yeah, some of the LP paints, certainly, like LP35, I think it is, LP34, I would definitely use that one straight out of the bottle because it's awful when it's thinned. So anyway, we're going to see how we get on with this. So I'm going to get my paper towel here, and first thing I'm going to do, as you can hear, I've got just air, and then if I pull back a bit more, I will get paint. and we're not getting any paint at all. I don't know why. I don't quite know what's going on here. Have I tightened the... Have I left the needle loose? Perhaps. No, the needle's loose. The needle's tight, I mean. I don't quite understand what's going on here. We're getting no paint whatsoever. Well, I really don't know what happened there. I could not make it pull any paint through, so I changed over to the fan cap and it worked instantly. I've gone back to this cap and it's working now. So I don't know if it had a blockage in there or something. It certainly does seem to be, you can hear that. There's a lot more air coming through. Maybe it had a blockage in there or something. I don't, maybe it's from when I took it apart. Maybe there was a bit of cotton bud or something. I don't know. Very, very strange. But it's absolutely fine now. So we can now get on with the video. Right, so another question that was asked, how do you prevent this from falling out? The answer is it won't. Okay, on there is a very, very fine taper. If you don't know what a Morse taper is, have a look. Some drills have a Morse taper on the end, and that taper is enough to hold a drill into a spindle on a turret lathe or on a pillar drill or whatever, and rotate the drill. That's how strong they are. So basically you can push that in there and just give it a little twist. You can see I can still twist it, but it won't fall out. I can bang it and knock it and everything. I mean, if you want to know how tight it is, just push that one in and then try and pull it out, that little bung. So this is with the ordinary nozzle. I'm just going to check it is still working. Yeah, it's still working. I've gone back, I upped the pressure as well. That didn't make any difference. I've gone back to 15 psi. So we can see here that if I use the ordinary nozzle, okay, I get a fine line. Now, this is one of the reasons I don't like these siphons. I can't get in nice and close because usually you'd have a gravity feed. So I wouldn't normally use one of these, but I'm using it just to show you. But we can have a fine line. Remember, this is a 0.5 needle, so you're not going to get real fine stuff. And remember, we've got this attachment on the back here, so we can actually set how far back we can pull the trigger. So I'll keep the trigger pulled back, and if that's the paint flow I want, I've got it set now so that I can't go any more than that. All right, so we'll back that off the way, and you can see now the difference. Basically, when I spray, I get like a pretty much a circular pattern. All right, so if you want to change over, what we're going to do is just put our finger over the end, blow back through. I can hear the paint blowing back through. All right, and then get a piece of cloth. You can see no paint's coming out. Just blow it through again, clean that off, and now you can swap over with a different colour and spray. They show that in their video on the Gaahleri website. So what I'm going to do now is remove this end cap. Okay. Slacken the needle. Always slacken the needle before you do any of this, guys. I'm going to take that off of there. There's the nozzle. I'm going to pop the nozzle back onto the needle, like so. This is why we loosen the needle. And then I'm going to put my fan cap on. Screw that in. Put that to one side. We'll put that over there at the base so it doesn't roll off the bench. And then what we're going to do with that done up, okay, I'm going to set it so that the fan, the two lumps of metal, when we look at it from the top, are east-west. Okay, so they're going acrossways. So then I can push the needle until it stops, tighten up that nut, and then refit my rear cover. Okay, back that off. Get some paint in there. Okay, and then we will see the difference. So you can see now the pattern I'm getting is like a wide, like an eye, like an oval. All right, and that's great for doing large areas. So if I want to spray here, I can come along and overlap a third each time. And as you can see, I can get great coverage rather than having this little circle to follow around. Now, bearing in mind I've got this set on this stop, I can have much more paint than that. As you can see, I can make a very wet pass on there. So I'll show you on a part quickly. Wow, this is starting to smell now. So I'll just show you on here, okay, just quickly. You can see how quick you can work. So if you're doing a large shape or a large truck body or something like that, this is ideal, the fan cap. They say it only works with the 0.5. I haven't tried it with anything else. Now if you wanted to, if you were doing say a post, okay, or you were spraying a Saturn rocket and you had it stood up, you just slacken that nut slightly, turn the nozzle so that the two lumps of metal now are north-south, okay, and then when you spray you'll get a wider pattern the other way. Okay, you can see we've got a, hold the paper up, it'll work better. You can see now we've got a pattern going acrossways. We've got a bit of a diagonal there. Okay, if we up the paint flow, you can see there. Right, and I'm going to get that extractor on and get the window open because this absolutely stinks now. I'm going to blow this back through if you can. I'm not sure you can with this type of... No, I don't think you can. With that type you can't blow it back through. So that's something to remember. So we'll put the airbrush down, put the paint down, and I'm going to get over to the spray booth and I'll show you the mods I've done on that. Alright, so we're over at the spray booth now, and as you can see it's all clear, it's empty. I've got a cotton bud here and you'll see the use of that in a minute. I've got the piece of paper here that I've just had over on the bench. So if you haven't seen this before, this is the Gaahleri air curtain, water curtain spray booth. It's a very, very large, very deep, it's beautiful spray booth, and it works extremely well. It has 3 fans and it's very, very good. I did mention in my previous video they are doing a redesign. Apparently that's not coming out until the end of 2025. So if you want to get the redesign, then you might have to wait a bit longer. So if you remember, I talked before about what I considered were the downsides to this spray booth. The positives are very, very good suction, fantastic lighting, very, very clean, easy to clean as well, and because of the water curtain you don't get any of the dust and everything in the air that you normally get. You can see here if we zoom in, sorry that's the wrong way, if we zoom in you can see at the back here we've got the filter is quite dirty. You have to fold, you can easily pull the water curtain down. Okay, you can just pull it down like that and get into the filter at the back should you need to, which is easy to do, and then just push that back in on its rollers. Now I haven't switched this on for probably 2 or 3 days, but if you remember I talked about having issues with the water, and what would happen is it would not flow all the way along, it would come down in one band and then get wide and end up all over the front here. So what I've done, you can see I've added this lip, and what I'll do is I'll zoom in, I'll zoom right in so you can see it. Okay, so you can see here there's a lip, and basically all that is like a piece of thick packing tape folded over and stuck to the edge. So it's about 20mm tall, and then on the inside on the corners I've put aluminium tape just to seal it all in. And what I found is just that little extra bit, and I've told Gaahleri this when they do their redesign, it's something you need to consider. Just with that extra 20mm it stops any water coming over, because even when it's running normally you will get the odd drop come over and it comes on down onto your workbench, onto your working area. And because I've got everything covered in paper, it's annoying because it takes forever to dry. So I'm going to come back out slightly, okay, and for the first time in a couple of days I'm going to put the water curtain on and I'm going to see what happens. The last time I did this a few days ago it worked straight away. And what I have done in the meantime is I cleaned this screen with Mr. Colour Leveling Thinners. This one here, okay, I use this one here. Don't use the rapid thinners or the tool cleaner because it will attack the plastic. I believe, I'm not going to try it, but I think it probably would. And that basically completely degreased it. People were saying try some Rain-X. People were saying you need to break down the water tension, so I looked that up online. I've added some hand soap to the water and I think we're there. Okay, so I'm going to switch this on, okay, and we'll see what happens. Right, here we go, 1, 2, 3, and we'll see what happens. Does the water flow right across all the way and work straight away? The answer to that is, ooh, almost. This side's going. You can see this side going, and you can see it's breaking apart in the middle. I don't know if you can see that. It's starting to break apart. So if you just touch it, it makes it go. Now what you can do is run your finger down here and it'll go. The other thing I found is you can use a cotton bud. So what I'm going to do is using this cotton bud, come down here and I can make the water flow across. I'll do the same on this side. I know you can't see what I'm doing here. but it's not that interested on that side. There we go, it's ready. I've got a full water curtain going across. Absolutely brilliant. So yeah, really happy with that. My biggest concern about using it without the water all the way across, or indeed without the water flowing, if we start to get paint deposits on this clear plastic screen, I'm not quite sure how it's how it would react. So again, we could clean it off with leveling thinners and get any of the paint off. But if you are going to use it without the water curtain, I suggest you disconnect that pipe and just take the curtain out and just use it as a normal extracting booth. And even then, it's absolutely brilliant. So let's have a go at doing some more spraying with this airbrush. Let's see how we get on. Let's come back a little bit, and I'll put the extractor on, so it's going to be quite noisy. I've got the airbrush here. I've got my paint over here, so I'm going to grab this floor pan of this Porsche, which is huge, and see how we get on. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to manage this on camera. In fact, I'm not going to even attempt it because it's going to be impossible to try and hold it and let you see what I'm doing and everything. We'll just do that bit there. So as you can see, this has been primed, and I've gone over it and just given it a dusting. So what we're going to do now is get the airbrush in there. We've got the fan set the wrong way, so I'm going to put the fan on. As you can see on this, the airline wrapped around my foot. As you can see with this one, I can put the fan on, and you can hear it ramping up to max, and then you can turn it down, so you can have it sucking less if you're just doing a small job. But I like to have it on max, so it's really pulling. Okay, so now I'm going to spray this. Easy as that. And that fan cap makes life really easy, I can assure you. Let's see if I can do some of this on here. Trouble is, if you're not right inside the booth, you will get some, you can probably see overspray coming up over the top. Generally it's being pulled in. I certainly can't smell any paint, that's for sure. Yeah, very nice indeed. As I say, this glass jar for me is a pain, it gets in the way. I'd much rather just use the vertical one, the gravity. It's going to be awkward spraying in there. You see, I'm right out of the booth now, so I don't expect it to pull all the paint dust in. Go. So that's the beauty of the fan cap, is the fact that you can cover so fast. I'm just going to use up a little bit of paint that's left in here. And I can put the airbrush down. It's ready for cleaning. I'll turn the fan off. And as you can see, already the water has started to run away from the corners. So I can just pull that down with a cotton bud, pull that down with a cotton bud. There we go. What I've generally found is as it's running, it tends to sort of bed itself in. You can see that one's starting to come away again. But as it's running, it seems to sort of improve as it goes. What I mean is it does it less. So there we are. So that's been a demo of this little beauty. As I say, I don't think I would use it habitually with the siphon cup. I think I would use it with the gravity feed. But and I'd have the gravity feed on this side. But the beauty of it is you've got the versatility. If you want to use a siphon cup, you can. If you want to use a vertical, you can. So let's get back to the bench and say goodbye. So there we are, guys. You can see how well that's covered. You can see how well it painted. You can see the lovely finish on there. It's still slightly wet in a couple of patches. I'll just give that a denib and then I'll put down the finished paint on there. It's actually Saturday and it's 1 minute past 5 and I need to get a video out tonight of that one. So there we go. And I've also forgot to prime those, so I need to prime those as well. So there we go, guys. That's you've seen it in action now. That's the Swallowtail SD. I would put the gravity cup on, but I don't want to because you know it's going to work. It's just exactly the same. It's just, it's got a vertical, it's got a cup sticking up like that rather than a cup hanging down. Okay, so there we go. So thank you for watching. Any questions, pop them down below. If you want to find out more about this airbrush, where you can get one or whatever, if you click on the link below this video, then that will take you to the Gaahleri website where you can have a look at everything on there. And if you use the code NMB, that's Nigel's Modelling Bench, NMB, you will get 10% off of any purchases you make. And already there is a sale on with up to 50% off. So, and as I say, this airbrush here is brand new, came out on the 1st of January, and it's now the 4th of January. So there we go. Okay, I've worked out what the problem is. As I clean the airbrush out, I can see, I didn't notice it before, but you can see this tube on the bottom. That was why it wasn't pulling any paint. That's why I wasn't getting any blowback. It's basically sealed itself to the bottom of the jar, as you can see there. So I think that was probably the issue. And then moving it around or something, I disturbed it, or it just found a little tiny hole. Because what I noticed when I was spraying thinners through it to clean it out, I was getting like a when the paint is it's the same thing when you get your paint is too thick, when it all builds up and it comes out as like a percussion, and that's usually it's a supply issue. So I had a look, and that, sure enough, that's what the problem was. If I slackened the lid off, okay, and then put it on loose, it was absolutely fine. So what we need to do is just shorten that tube slightly, purely because it's a little bit too long. So all I'm going to do is I'll put less of an angle on it. So I'm going to shorten it slightly and change the angle, and that way it still reaches the bottom of the jar, but as you can see, it no longer seals. It has a gap there. It can still pull the paint. So in fact it still needs, I'm going to put another sharp angle on it to see if that improves it actually, because it looks like I made it worse. Yeah, you can see it's still sealing itself in the bottom of the, perhaps if we put a little kink in it. So that's something worth looking at, guys. I don't think twisting it's going to make any difference. But, as I say, I won't use the siphon feed anyway because I don't see the point in it. I'd much rather have gravity. Car spraying, why would you use a siphon feed gun? You can use gravity. It's far superior in my opinion. Anyway, so, and that is just my opinion, which counts for nothing. So there we go, we can put this away now. It's all been cleaned. And there we go. Thank you for watching again. I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.